Hello, come on in the room. I am so excited to read your cards today. Yes. Come on in. We are doing sensual tarot readings today. So I welcome those of you who have not been here before. And I welcome those of you who have been here before. We have a good time. Every month we do sensual tarot readings, and I will pair a sex toy with a tarot card. Okay, I will pair a sex toy with a tarot card. Good afternoon. The first thing that I want to do though is I just want to check in and see, like, just as a group, where are we just as a group, honey? How are we entering into this conversation? And then once I do that, once I look at that, I'm going to ask you to pick a sex toy. Okay, I'm going to ask you to pick a sex toy, and whatever sex toy that you pick is going to correspond with your sensual message for the month. Okay, so for the rest of the month. Okay, so let's just see generally, where is everybody at? Where is the group? Yes, I hear that elevated vibes, getting by, resting for this Aries season. I hear that. I see that. I affirm that, and I acknowledge that. So let's see where are we at? Where are we? Oh, look at us go. Where are we at as a group? So if you're under the sound of my voice, if you're watching this in the present, if you're watching this in the future, this is where we are. Knowledge. This is where the group is. Knowledge. This is the knowledge card from the Sluttist tarot deck. Sluttist, Slutist, Sluttist tarot deck. This is a really, really fascinating card to get as a group. This card is what we call a major arcana card, okay? So the tarot, for those of you who are new to tarot is split up into two different parts, the major arcana and the minor arcana, okay? So we've got major. Now, our majors, these cards actually ask us to go deep. They ask us to think about what paradigms in our lives are shifting. And they're not just, they're not just quick, just like, this is going to happen or that's going to happen. This is really asking us, what is the erotic knowledge that we need to live into our best erotic life? What is the erotic knowledge that we need to live into our best erotic, sexual, sensual life? So in this time, I know, beloveds, we are still in this pandemic moment. We are still navigating how to do this safely, right? But in the meantime, in between time, the tarot is saying, now's the time to gain actually knowledge. Now's the time to be reading up, my babies. Now's the time to try out new sex toys to see if you like them. Now is the time to go to sex education workshops. There are so many beautiful sex education workshops that are out, even some that are now focusing on what intimacy and sexuality and sensuality looks like at this moment. And sometimes we think, this is just like this is not as exciting as the bend it over, bust it open. Sometimes we can feel like, that's not as exciting as the bend it over, bust it open, turn it around, and touch the ground, right? But the knowledge card is going to make sure that you can do all of those things safely. The knowledge card is going to make sure that you can do all of those things safely. The knowledge card, go to explore. Now is our time as a group. Everybody under the sound of my voice is watching this in the present and that may be watching it in the future. Now is the time to get more erotic knowledge. Now is the time. If there are doms that you're like, you've been watching their work and you've been appreciating their work. If they're content creators or sexuality professionals, you've been watching their work, you've been appreciating their work, right? Now's the time to take that next step. What does it look like to be taught by them? What does it look like to be educated by them? What does it look like to get the knowledge that empowers you to have the erotic experiences that you want? So some of us, the knowledge will look like, here's what I like generally. Here's what turns me on. Here's what turns me off. Here's where I am in between, right? Right? And so the knowledge card, for some of us, that's going to be self-knowledge. What is our erotic self-knowledge? Put that in the chat. Put that in the chat. That's some new language for you. Erotic self-knowledge. What is our erotic self-knowledge? Put that in the chat. Our erotic self-knowledge. That is, we know what it is that turns us on. We know what it is that feels good to our bodies. We know what it is that feels good to our souls. We know, honey, knowledge. And for some of us, that knowledge-seeking process will look like going and moving into different spheres where we can learn, right? Go to a rope tying class. Learn some new self-ties. Learn some new self-holds. See what new restraints are out. Knowledge. This is the moment. I know it's not as exciting as turn it around and bust it open and do this. I know it's not as exciting as that. However, what I will say to you is, welcome to those who are just coming in. However, what I will say to you is that as a group, where we are growing, if you're watching this now in the present, or if you're watching this in the future, we are growing in knowledge. We're growing in knowledge, our erotic self-knowledge. We're growing in knowledge of the techniques that we need to use, right? We're growing in knowledge of the techniques that we appreciate. So for some of you, go ahead and take that class on impact play. Go ahead and take that class on bondage. Go ahead and learn some new ways to tie. Now's a good time for it. Okay, so your individual message, this is how it's going to work. You're going to choose one of 3 sex toys. You're going to choose one of 3 sex toys. The first one, all from Fun Factory, obviously, you know. The first one is their butt plug. Oh, thank you, Tony Tone. Bless your heart. Yes, I'm doing my best. I'm committed to just show up. You know, I'm committed to just show up. So this is the butt plug. The booty. It's small, size small butt plug. Okay, you can choose that. You can choose the Miss Bi. This is your favorite part, Naughty Dreams. Yeah, I like this part too. This is Miss Bi. This is a sex toy. Obviously, you know, this is a butt plug. And this is really good for clitoral stimulation here. G-spot stimulation for those who like that penetrative kind of effect. Miss Bi. You can choose Miss Bi. You can also choose B1. This sits really nice nestled in your fingers just like this, and it vibrates, so you can, I don't know if you can hear or see that, but it vibrates here, so you can put it right in between these knuckles here and use it as nice, you know, self-touch in that way. Okay, so you have a choice of 3. You have a choice of 3. Yes, you have a choice of 3. You've got the butt plug. You got the size small butt plug. You've got the B1. You love the B1? Yeah, I do too. We've got the B1, right? Really good for touch play. And we've got Miss Bi. Miss Bi, really good for penetration and those kinds of sensations. So choose the one that you are feeling today. Don't overthink it. Just choose one. And let me know what you chose in the comments. So I'm seeing B1. Okay, we've got some folks that got B1. Right? Any for Miss Bi. Choosing Miss Bi. Miss Bi. And then the butt plug. Butt plug. I think what I'm going to do is, I think I'm going to start with the... I think I'm going to start with the B1. I think I'm going to start with the B1. So if you're just joining us, or if you chose the B1, this is the card that you have for this next month. You have the Prince of Cups. The Prince of Cups. You can see that it's the illustrator modeled this after Prince. And so the Prince of Cups. The Prince of Cups. The court cards in the tarot. The court cards in the tarot are certain aspects of our personality, things that are inside of us that it helps to call up, right? Sometimes they can represent other people. That's true. That's true. Sometimes the court cards can represent other people, but many times it can represent like an energy within ourselves, a trait within ourselves that we need to call up. So if you're just joining us, or if you chose the B1 toy, you have received the sensual message of the Prince of Cups. The sensual message of the Prince of Cups. Cups represents water. It's our feelings, it's our emotions, it's that dreamy, romantic side of ourselves. So the sensual message behind the Prince of Cups is, what is that part of you that is the lover? What is that part you're going to be exploring this month? What is that part of you that is the lover? Whether that is through self-love, whether that is through reading erotica, right? Reading erotica, or getting really into that kind of, or listening to, audio erotica, getting into those kinds of things. Because Cups is about creativity. So for you this month, your creativity and your sensuality are gonna really be feeding each other. One's gonna be feeding the other this month for you. So the more that you can get in, right, of that nice, juicy erotica content, or of those things that make you feel dreamy or romantic, enjoy that. I'm also hearing like enjoy, whether it's just texting or sexting, whether it's, you met someone new online. Enjoy this moment. It doesn't have to be so serious. Enjoy this moment of Cups. Cups is water, like flowing like water. Enjoy your lovers. Enjoy your lovers. Enjoy yourself, right, as the lover. Enjoy yourself as the lover, whether that is in self-pleasure or play, or whether that is in playing with others. The Prince of Cups is this trait within ourselves that is dreamy. It's so dreamy. It's so romantic. So for you, your homework, if you're just joining or you chose the B1, your homework this month might be write a short erotica piece of your own. Ooh, write a short erotica piece of your own, right? Or draw an erotic picture, right? Or play around with texture, play around with pressure, play around. Yes, Prince of Cups, this is you. Enjoy this month. Enjoy this month and see how much of a lover you can become. A lover of yourself, a lover of others. And remember, let's not forget, all of our cards roll up into knowledge. Remember that? All of our cards roll up into knowledge. So we are actually learning more about yourself and others through romancing yourself. Through enjoying yourself. Take some time to fantasize. I don't know anywhere else on the internet that's going to give you this kind of fun homework. I don't know anywhere else on the internet that's going to give you this kind of fun homework. Okay? So if you chose the Prince of Cups, if you're just joining us and you chose the B1, what I'm telling you is your creativity and your imagination is going to make the sensual difference. So fantasizing is a beautiful thing because it attunes. Are y'all hearing me? It attunes you to what it is that you really want. Attune is to get you used to, right? So our fantasies can attune us to what we like, can get us used to responding to ourselves, responding to our erotic selves. Not just saying, oh, I see that, I feel that, now let me push it down. No. This is gonna be, if your mission, should you choose to accept it, is to allow some play, allow some romance. Some of us, we're faced with erotic encounters or sensual encounters or even intimate encounters, and we get shook, right? We get shook. This card actually allows us to relax into our fantasies, into our play. Okay, so we're going to come back to that. But if you're just joining us, thank you, Naughty Dreams. If you're just joining us, or you chose Miss Bi, this is a sex toy. This was actually one of my favorites, so I chose to kind of do a re-feature of the Miss Bi toy. So if you're just joining, or at the beginning you chose Miss Bi, this is the card that you are receiving for this month. You are getting the 3 of Wands in reverse. 3 of Wands in reverse. Now, when we have a reverse card, sometimes people get shook. People are like, oh God, why is my card in reverse? Is the terrible gonna happen? No, my babies, relax. Relax. When you have the blues calling to you, yes. When you have a reversal, it means that there's an area where we need to fine tune. There's an area that we need to come back to. There's an area that we need to sit with and reflect on, so we can understand ourselves a little bit better. Okay? So the 3 of Wands in reverse. The Wands is fire energy. So just like we went into the cups, and the cups being water energy, the Wands is fire energy, and it represents our passion. Everybody thinks about fire, with passion, with heat, right? With sparks. 3 of Wands. Now, when the 3 of Wands is upright, it's actually about like vision, right? Visioning into the future, knowing the direction that we want to go, right? Knowing where we want to dive in. So if you're just joining, or you chose Miss Bi, you got the 3 of Wands in reverse. So we're going to look at what are the characteristics of the 3 of Wands in reverse. When we look at the 3 of Wands in reverse, sometimes we can feel like we've lost our vision a little bit, right? Sometimes we can feel like, where is that passion that I once felt like I had so strongly? Where is that passion? Where is that fire? When we have it in reverse, sometimes we can feel that way, So we have to consider our passions. When we have a 3 of Wands in reverse, it can also mean that we're questioning our passions. We're questioning, like, am I really into that? For real? We're thinking about our direction. Moving forward. And we may be trying to stoke those flames again, right? What is true? This is just true. What is true is that eroticism and sexuality and sensuality, they're not always going to be operating at, you're not always going to be operating at fire pace, right? You're not, it's just not, that's not reality. There's going to be ebbs and there's going to be flows. There's going to be ebbs and there's going to be flows. There's going to be mountains and there's going to be valleys. And sometimes you're going to be feeling like, yes, honey, I am erotica goddess or goddess extraordinaire. And sometimes you're going to be feeling like the 3 of Wands in reverse. Trying to find that spark. Again, trying to find that passion. Trying to find your eroticism. Remember this. One of the things that James Baldwin actually says is that sensuality really talks about our capacity of fully feeling. Our ability to just fully feel. So my loves, if you chose the Miss Buy, if you're just joining and you're under the sound of my voice and you got the Three of Wands in reverse, start nice and slow, nice and easy. Within my work, we have something called Embodied Sensual Rituals. And one of our statements, our grounding truths, our affirmations is that we stoke the flames of our erotic fire. We stoke the flames of our erotic fire. And when we have a Three of Wands in reverse, sometimes that can mean that either we've taken a pause from stoking the flames of our erotic fire, which is fine, which is life, right? Or we feel like we're kind of meandering here, there, questioning our passions, questioning this, questioning that. Listen. Be open to new possibilities this month, my loves. Be open. Be creative, right? Be creative. Look for what allows you to feel. No matter how small. You might even have to get down to the minute Three of Wands. Your sensual practice, your erotic practice might be, I'm taking this lotion and I'm putting it on my flesh, and oh God, that feels so good. I'm fully here. I'm fully mindful of myself. Just doing this easy everyday ritual that stokes the fire of your own, right? Stokes the flame, of your own erotic fire. Yes? So I know you probably wanted to come in here and your person is coming and this and this and this and this and this and that, right? Oh yes, welcome, my love, welcome. Yes, I know you probably wanted to hear that, but remember, this reading overall is about knowledge, erotic self-knowledge, the knowledge of ourself, what we like, what turns us on, what turns us off. And technical knowledge too, right? So for some of y'all, go take your rope classes. Go do those things. Now, the first card that we reviewed was the Prince of Cups. And Prince of Cups were the folks that chose B1. And remember, your message, Prince of Cups, is to dream and fantasize, yes? Three of Wands, y'all are feeling, you may be in a little bit of a valley, like a little bit of a lull, an erotic lull, or sensual lull, or sexual lull, like might kind of feel like, what's going on? Right? What's going on? That's the vibe. That's the vibe of this card. But don't forget that there are those little ways that you can show up for yourself that aren't so little. Your ability, sensuality, if sensuality is your ability to fully feel, then that can happen in so many different ways and at so many different times. So focus on that. Focus on that. Right? If you're feeling like kind of here and there too, sometimes Three of Wands in reverse can make us, we feel like, oh, where am I going next? Where's my next thing? Can you be here now is the question. Can you be here now? Can you be in your full feeling now? There's time. There's time for, I don't know who this is for, but there's time for you to figure it out. There's time for you to figure it out. Getting to know your sexual self, getting to know your erotic self is a journey that lasts your whole life. It's a journey that lasts your whole life. Why? Because we're beings that change, that evolve, that grow. And so there's gonna be times where we're feeling like hot girl summer. There's gonna be times where we're feeling like hot girl summer, winter, spring, and fall. And then there's gonna be times where we're not feeling sexy, we're not feeling sensual, we're not feeling erotic. So we can either wait for someone else to do that for us, or we can decide that I stoke the flames of my own erotic fire consistently. Whether that's through sensual self-touch, whether that's through sensual movement and dancing, right? I want to call into the work of Rashida Kambe Miller, who talks a lot about sensual movement. So it could be that. It could be sensual self-touch. It could be learning about new things. But you're going to have to, this month, my loves, you're going to have to stoke those flames while you might be in this lull, okay? So let's move on. Let's move on to our next card. Okay. So, if you chose the butt plug, size small, butt plug, anal plug, you received the Prince of Wands, which this card is modeled after David Bowie, of course. So it's funny, in one reading, we got both Prince and David Bowie. Right? Don't you love that? Oh my goodness. Icons. So, Prince of Wands. This is such a different energy from the Three of Wands that we just came from. I'm just like giggling because the Prince of Wands is lit, honey. The Prince of Wands is really too lit to quit. The Prince of Wands card. Oh, yes. So we're still in fire. We're still in that fiery energy. Yes, we're still in that complete and total just flame fever, honey. Yes, that is the Prince of Wands. That is the Prince of Wands. So the things to remember about the Prince of Wands is that this is a card of courage, erotic courage. Erotic courage. Courage to try new things. This is also a card of erotic spontaneity or sensual spontaneity. Yes? So spontaneous, to be safely spontaneous is actually your message for the month. If you're just joining us, or if you chose the anal butt plug at the beginning, this is your card. You're feeling spontaneous. You're feeling energetic. There's charm. Don't be afraid to turn on your inner charmer this month. Your inner charmer. Because this card, for us, it brings us into the mind of spontaneity. Spontaneity. Right? Change up your scenes. Change up your scenes. I don't know if you're playing with partners or if you're playing alone. I don't know. But change up your scenes. Right? I think like your creativity can really shine in your erotic scenes, the things that you're creating, the erotic moments that you're creating to play, right, with others, or even with yourself. If you know that you're always doing pleasurable self-touch and masturbation one kind of way and in one setting, change up the scenery. Change up the scenery, baby, so that you can fully live into your spontaneous self. Your spontaneous self. A piece of homework is to turn on your charmer this month, your inner charmer this month. Turn on your inner charmer. Yes? Ask someone, do you have consent to slide into their DMs? Do you have consent to flirt, to charm, to turn on your inner charmer? Yes? To turn on your inner charmer. That's the Prince of Wands. Prince of Wands, change up the scenery. Change up the scenery. And remember that this card will actually, again, all the cards today roll up into knowledge. Why do we do these things? Why change up the scenery, and why live into our spontaneity, and why turn on our inner charm? Well, because it's going to give you more erotic knowledge. It's going to help you understand more about what turns you on, more about your sensuality, right? There are places in your sensual journey that you haven't even touched yet, you haven't even unlocked yet, because you won't take a chance. You won't switch up the scene. So this month, my loves, Prince of Wands, Change it up. Okay, so I'm gonna go and do a recap, and I want you to be thinking now about any questions that you might have specifically. Questions that you might have specifically. Okay? So go ahead and think on it. I'm going to review the cards that we went through just for our group reading today for March. And I want you to think about what are the questions that you might have, that you might want to get answered while I'm here. I said it in the last video, you got to catch people when they want to be caught, honey. And so I'm here. I'm here to answer some questions. And so if you have questions, let me know. Be thinking on them now. Okay, and then after this, I will open up the chat and open up for us to talk a little more specifically. So the group reading as a whole, we got the knowledge card. The knowledge card, we're growing, we're learning more about ourselves, we're learning more about others. Oh, you're welcome, Nani Dreams. We're learning more about others. Knowledge, we're coming into a new understanding of ourselves. The first card, our first group, received the B1. The B1. This is really, really good for tactile play. You can nest it kind of between your knuckles or between kind of the crevice of your fingers, the webbing of your fingers. And this is really good for touch, pleasurable self-touch. And this corresponds with the Prince of Cups, right? Your homework this month is to dream, is to fantasize, is to read erotica or write erotica, because your creativity is the thing that's going to help you unlock your erotic and sexual potential this month, okay? So that's the first one. Then we moved into the Three of Wands. Now these are our folks that you may, and Three of Wands in reverse. So these are folks that you may not be feeling like super energized around sexuality right now, or super, right? It might be a valley time. It might be a valley season, or just the ebbs and the flows. And so what you need to do at this moment, what's helpful for you to do at this moment, is to stoke the flames of your own erotic fire. Even if it's just something small, even if it's something just minute, you know? Play with your toy for just a few moments, right? Massage yourself. Stoke the flames of your erotic fire. We all go through these ebbs and flows with our sexuality, our sexual energy. And so don't blame yourself or beat yourself up if you're just at a moment and at a time right now that you're not feeling as vibrant, that's okay. That's okay. Because you can still show up for yourself. Yes? And you can even ask lovers. You can ask lovers too. Like, listen, I've been feeling in more of a valley place. So maybe our play could just be slow and sweet and soft and intimate. Yeah? And then the third card, for folks who chose the butt plug, received the Prince of Wands, which is modeled after David Bowie, of course. And the Prince of Wands is change it up. Change up the scenery. Change up the time. Be spontaneous. Try something new. Take a risk. Take a chance. Right? That's the Prince of Wands. So in this next month, let us know how you see these cards coming up in your life. Let us know how you see yourself doing the homework within these cards, okay? So now we've got a few more moments. If there are questions that you have, if there are questions that you have, let us know. Let me know. If there's a question that you have that you want to ask it in the chat and let me know. Okay, you gotta catch me now while I want to be caught. Catch me now while I want to be caught. So the chat is open for those of you who want to ask questions. We're talking about sensuality, sexuality, and the erotic. So no questions about like health or anything like that. We're talking about sexuality, sensuality, and the right. Thank you, Lulu. Thank you, Lulu. What do you mean? What do you mean by that? Oh, thank you, Zach. What do you mean by that, Lulu? For this next month? Is that what you're asking? Let me know. So if there are questions you have at this moment, now is your chance. Now is your chance. Okay, let's see. I see a question came up. Okay. What is in the sex cards for Aries? Oh, for the sign of Aries? That's interesting. That is really interesting. What I would say, honestly, first, Lulu, I would say that go with the card that's already, so two things. I am going to pull you a card, but go with the card that you've already chosen to understand whatever this next card is, okay? So I'm going to just pull this for you, right, as you go into this next season. And remember that all the cards, you got to read them in context with each other. So your message from here, your message from this set is still your message from this set, right? We're just going to expand that a little bit, right, for you, okay? Okay, yes. Seven of Wands, Seven of Wands, Seven of Wands. We're really in the Wands. We are really in the Wands, because that makes sense. Aries season is fire energy. It's fire energy. Seven of Wands. The number 7 in the tarot is about self-determination. Self-determination, and that is our right to say and express what we feel, what we mean, who we are, our right to assert ourselves, right? Our right to assert ourselves. And so you're learning a lot about what it means to assert yourself, Lulu. Yes, you're learning a lot about what it means to assert yourself in the bedroom, about when you want to be in a space of doming, right, or taking on the power, doing like power play, or when you want to surrender that power, surrender into erotic power play. So I wouldn't be surprised if your sexual journey is actually teaching you a lot about like dynamics of power and dynamics of self-determination, right? Speaking up for yourself, those different kinds of things. Because what's true is when we learn how to use our safe words, right? When we learn how to say, okay, red, or, yellow, or keep going. When we learn how to say that, we learn like how to assert ourselves and make sure that we get what it is that we're looking for in the sexual or sensual experience. So for you, you're going to take your same card from this set, right? And then this card will kind of be more specific to you and how you're moving through Aries season with 7 of Wands. This theme of self-determination, and access, and really thinking about kind of power. I like to call this the politics of your bedroom. What are the politics of your bedroom? Yes. Zach says, what methods have helped me to take ownership and control of my own sexual needs and desires? Oh, that's a good question. Me personally, so the work that I do outside of this moment is called Embodied Sensual Rituals. You're welcome, Lulu. Embodied Sensual Rituals. And I always share that I grew up in a religious, like a really, really religious household, really religious framework and construct. And I'm a Black, queer, disabled femme. And so you can imagine the different things of identity and all of that. Okay, same, yep, the different things that came up. And one of the things that I learned as I was going in my studies, I started like doing some studying and some writing actually about healing from religiously based sexual and sensual suppression, particularly for Black women, femmes, and gender non-binary folks. Why this population? Well, because we're looking at like the layers of looking at the layers of religiosity and how it expresses very specifically in those church spaces, and then also looking at misogynoir, the ways that gendered racism impede the ability to really blossom and bloom as a sexual being with self-determination. And so I was doing I said all that to say that I was doing a lot of writing on that topic. And I was learning a lot about, the toxicity of purity culture. So you'll know this language, Zach, yes. So the toxicity of purity culture and its roots within, its political roots. And so as I was writing, I was realizing there was all these things that were getting free in my mind, but my body, it was like... my body was just like still catching up, right, to my mind, to where my mind had gone, to the different things that I had unlearned, right, in my process of writing and thinking through these topics. And so I realized that what was going to be important for me to do was to create a toolkit of things that I could do that while I was unlearning and relearning and writing and thinking, right, that I could do to ground myself and my body in the actual practice. So I created embodied sensual rituals. And those rituals are really just meant for us to take the knowledge that we get from our minds, right, from our unlearning, and help it to find a home in our bodies, right? So that is, as a spiritualist, as someone who is still a spiritualist, who's a tarot reader, who's a Black queer disabled femme, what I did was I kind of meshed the academic knowledge that I had about what it takes for particularly Black women, femmes, and gender non-binary folks to heal from religiously based sexual suppression, and I married that with my own initiations in energy healing and tarot reading, and all of those different kinds of things to create embodied sensual rituals. And so what that means, to answer your question, Zach, is that first thing, you have to be very patient with yourself. You have to be very patient with yourself. Very patient with yourself. And the second thing is that it's important for you to interact and engage with your body. Because what's true is that when there is religiously based sensual suppression, it's a disembodying experience, right? It teaches you soul and spirit above body, suppress the body, disembodiment, right? So to come back to a place of erotic liberation, right? Erotic joy, the first thing you got to do is get back embodied. Get back to your embodiment, your ability to feel and breathe. Yeah, it makes complete sense. Your ability to feel and breathe. And that might look like sex, and that might not actually look like sex. Do you see what I'm saying? That could look like touch. That could look like erotic breathing, orgasmic breathing. It's a really good practice to help you get back into your body. And so I say all that to say, Zach, it can be a long journey, but it's a sweet journey. It's a sweet journey. And things like this, moving through tarot, using the cards to figure out how we can continue to heal, continue to enliven ourselves. I think that's the magic for me. That's the magic for me. Beautiful question. Thank you so much. All right, beloveds, I think we're at time. I always have so much fun with y'all today, and every month. And so today we talked about, just to kind of close us out, we had the knowledge. We're growing in our erotic knowledge together. We love that. Love that so much. We're growing in our erotic knowledge. Yeah. Some of us are being called into spontaneity, turning on the charm, turning on the fire. Others of us are being called to be patient with our ebbs and our flows and to stoke our own erotic fire. And others of us are being called to be creative and to daydream and to really romance ourselves. Thank you so much. It's always a pleasure being with you. Keep in touch. You can keep in touch with me at Jade T Perry online, at Jade T Perry. And I will see you all next month for your next tarot reading. Here's a pro tip. Write down the card that you got for today so that you can see how it actually plays out throughout the rest of the month. And then we'll join together next month to talk about what's tea. What's tea? What happened in the last month? Yes, and then what will we be moving into for April, okay? Talk soon, beloveds. Bye-bye.